Okay, so you guys kind of get the deal, right? Shaking it out, just getting loose, getting the shoulder joints ready. Any kind of residual stiffness, maybe some of you might have done one of the stretch band sessions yesterday or the day before, and you still may be feeling that through the shoulders, through the chest. I know I did one on Monday, maybe it was yesterday, but either way, I tell you, I can still feel it right back in here. So it's always good just to make sure we kind of get loose. And we'll swing the arms a bit, and then we'll switch right into arm circles. We'll start left arm, just kind of moving it back, nice and square through the chest, and opening it up as we come around the back. That's where we really feel it, is coming around the back, right across the chest there. Don't have to do these super fast, just getting the arms moving. Like I said, we do about 10, doesn't have to be exact. And then we'll switch to the other arm, swinging it back, opening up. Really, this is where you should feel that stretch right across the front of the shoulder here. As we're doing 10 of these or so. And then we'll go back to the left arm, go forward this time. And try not to get that side to side motion nice and square. Just really making sure that joint working in that full range of motion all the way through. And then we'll switch to the other arm, forward. Nice and slow, nothing crazy, just moving. Greasing the joints a bit. All right, we'll stop for a sec, do a quick shake, and then we're gonna go right into a double arm reverse. And that is where we really feel it open up all across here. Nice, doesn't have to be super fast. You kind of come through with the bend in the knee, a little bounce if you want. Kind of helps bring it through. But feel that full stretch all over. We'll stop and go the other direction. Butterfly motion, coming over the top, and accelerate through even on this. Ooh. I'm feeling it today in the shoulders. A little tight here. It's okay. And then we will go right up into that streamline. Let me see if I can get this up for you here. So again, really squeeze the ears. Those arms should be right over your ears, not behind the ears, not behind the head, but right over the ears. Squeeze tight and pull yourself up. Really try to get elongated on this. Feel nice and tall, and you can kind of bend to one direction and feel that stretch go all the way up your side, through your lat, through your tricep. And you can go over to the other side. Just kind of hold it there for a sec, and then back in the middle, and again, almost like you're getting pulled up to the ceiling, nice and tall. All right, and then today what I want to do is go back to these where you kind of bring the arms down from that streamline as if you're standing against a wall and you're sliding those arms down the wall. It's almost like you're flat up against the wall here, and really feel that through the back and through the chest and through here. We'll come down. We'll come back up to a streamline, tight, squeeze it up top, and then come back down, nice and slow. Hold it here for a sec. Get back up to the streamline. We're gonna do that one more time. Right back down through here. Hold it here for a sec. Oh, and then we can shake it out. Do some arm swings. And just feel nice and loose. All right, good. So we will get going right into it today. Let me grab my workout. Hopefully, yeah, like I said, if you guys have got, we talked a little bit about video and position. So it does, if I can see you guys, it does help me to provide some feedback. Head on works from the side is a little bit better because I can really kind of see what we're doing with the form, particularly the catch up front and making sure we're getting that wrist nice and straight down and pulling back through. Actually, one of the things I do want to touch on real quick before we get going, grab my cords here, because one of the things we talked about the other day, we had talked about it a few times, is having too much slack up front. So particularly in the pre, it can be, let's see if you guys can see it, sorry, that's behind me here. If you can see right here, if it's too slack, if there isn't any tension, I end up starting my pull down here. And by this point, I'm already a third of the way through. So if I have it to where there's just enough tension, I'm able to start my pull as if my hand were on the surface of the water. And that those fingertips drop down, that wrist, high elbow, that vertical forearm we always talk about with swimming through here. And then once I get to this position, it's pulling all the way through back straight. So again, tips come down, elbow goes up. And this is what we really want to see at the top, at the front. Starting to see sometimes when people get tired, that elbow drops, we pull this way, elbow up, vertical forearm. This is the important part of that catch up here. And then once you're here, you're pushing the whole arm back through. All right, just want to touch on that real quick. And we're gonna do a pretty similar preset to what we've been doing. And the idea behind the pre is one, we're still warming up, we're still getting loose, we're focusing on the form, that type of stuff we were just talking about. And the way I really like to do that is by isolating those arms. And if you can really focus on just one arm, you don't have to put a ton of strain on it. You don't have to have a huge tempo. You're really just focused on that one arm being able to do what it's supposed to do. So we're gonna do 5 right arm, 5 left arm. So right arm only for 5, left arm only for 5 pulls, right into 20 double pulls. Now this first round, I want it to be a light, relaxed, not a lot of tension. I like to say this a lot in the preset, slow and deliberate, meaning we're being very deliberate with what we're doing. We're not rushing through these pulls, setting up good form and still warming up and feeling good, particularly on this first round. But it's gonna be 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only, right into 20 double arm. And that first 20 double arm should still be relaxed, slow, deliberate, just starting to feel the groove a little bit. And as with the pre, I'll let you guys count your own on these. After you get through that 20 double arm, drop your chords, take a break, and hopefully we'll wait for everyone to get caught up. And then the main set, we'll do it timed all together. But for the pre, you guys can go ahead and get going. And I'll let you count these out on your own. But 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only, right into 20 double arm. And again, this first 20 double arm should be just relaxed and smooth, slow, deliberate, form focused. And as this is the first thing we're doing, the first part, you don't need a ton of tension on it at that point. Steve, your hands are a little bit too high. Try to get a little bit lower. There you go. So you were kind of pushing your shoulder blade back up to get the elbow up higher, and you want it more equal with body position. There, that's much better. And just nice solid pull right through the back, almost kind of a little flex with the triceps as you finish up all the way through the back there. And as I said, when you get done with that 20, you can kind of take a little break. As I said, we're going to kind of take our time through this, the pre, just to make sure we're getting warmed up and feeling good. All right. Looks like everybody's finishing up. Good, nice job. So we're going to progress that a little here. We're going to go through, it should be about the same tension again for 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only. Then we're going to do 15 double, but I'd like you to take about a half a step back or scoot a bench if you're on it, just a little scooch back on your bench for the 15 double arm. So let's say that 20 double arm we did was maybe 70% type effort. This should be maybe 80% type effort on those 15 double arm. So 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only, right into maybe a half a step back for 15 double arm. And you guys can go ahead and get started on those. So now we're adding a little bit more tension to the double arm pulls, but we're going to do 5 less. So we're going to bring that down to 15 double arm pulls, but with a little more tension on it this time. Alexi, your arms are still a little bit straight. Try to get that fingertips with a nice elbow bend at the top a little bit more. There you go. That looks good. All right, nice job. And as you finish up those 15 double arm, just drop the cords again. A nice little break. We're not going to rush through this preset. As I said, this is still part of mostly warm up. And as we do progress through, it'll get a little bit harder, but we still don't need to rush through it. All right, excellent. So I'm guessing you can probably see the progression and where we're going with this here. We're gonna again start with that same tension that we started at the very beginning. 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only. Take a big full step back this time, 10 double arm. Think about 90% effort on those 10, more tension. Now you should start to be feeling it a little bit. You guys can get started when you're ready. 5 right, 5 left, then 10 double. And those 10 double now, should get said, good step back for those 10 doubles, so we're starting to feel some tension on them. And as we get a little more tension, you can start to apply a little bit more pressure through those double arm, naturally as you would. But again, think about it kind of starting to accelerate through the back on those. Nice straight arm, almost parallel with your body as you finish. Nice tight tricep flex at the end. Jeff, I'm seeing a little bit of a bounce. There you go. And then after those 10, take a little break again. And excellent. We'll take a little 30 to 40 second break here. And then we will start just the last little part of our preset. And as you know, it's going to be 5 right arm only, 5 left arm only, slow and deliberate, still setting up good form. Right arm, left arm, right into, take a big step and a half back. 5 super powerful, high tension, double arm strokes. So 5 right only, 5 left only. You get to start when you're ready. Big step back for 5 strong, high tension strokes. But we only want as much tension as we can still finish through the back of the stroke. If you can't finish all the way through, then there's too much tension. And with those double arms, really accelerate through. And then after that, drop paddles. This is a good opportunity to get some stretching in before we get started with our main set today. So get that little stretch across the shoulder, you can get it through the triceps and get it in there. So there's a couple things we want to accomplish with our main set today. Pull my paddles up here. One of those being, like I said, we almost want to mimic kind of what would be the start of a race. And the other thing we want to do is we still want to keep our focus on form, particularly when we're using these stretch bands. If form falls apart, that's just a quick road to an injury or a sore shoulder or something that we really don't want at this point. So the focus here, first off, form stays correct. I also want to work on, this is something we've talked about before, finding that rhythm. So it's almost like a swimming rhythm. So even though we're going to be pulling hard and with tension, we still want to be able to finish here. Let me come a little closer so you can see. My arm is parallel with my body. My tricep is flexed as I'm pushing all the way through. We don't want the arm to be bent at all at the finish. If you can't finish, if you're only getting to here, take a step forward so you can get to here. So make sure you're coming all the way through with a nice straight arm. And also don't come up over the top here, just right parallel with your body, at your hip, past it, right back up. The other thing we talked about this before is finding that rhythm, almost like a swimming rhythm. So don't wait for your hand to come back up before the next pull. Try to find a bit of a rhythm. And when we get going on the rhythm, it's really easy to start doing this bounce, nice and flat, but find that rhythm. You should be starting your pull. I think we talked about this last time. I generally find, similar to my recovery with a swim, when my recovering arm is near my shoulder, that's about when I'm starting my next pull. So as this is coming up, I'm starting my next one. So we find that rhythm and that form. So we'll see how we do. Sorry, I lost my clock here. See how we do time-wise here. Ideally, I'd like to go through this about 4 times. We'll see where we end up as we get going. but we're gonna be doing 20 seconds at max tension, alternating single arm. So just like you're swimming, as much tension as you can get while still maintaining form. So think of this as being, you're going out at the beginning of a race, you're going out hard, you're fighting everybody for position, so you're going out strong. So we're gonna do that for 20 seconds into 20 seconds rest. I'm gonna be strict on the rest today. So 20 seconds rest, take a step forward, then we're gonna go for 40 seconds at about what would be maybe 90%. So backing off just a little bit, still think about accelerating through the stroke, but less tension this time, okay? Your tempo can slow down a little bit less tension for 40 seconds. Then we'll do 40 seconds rest, take another step forward, and we're gonna do a solid minute at about what would be like maybe an 80% effort. So almost think at this point, like a race type tempo, race type effort for that 1 minute straight, and then we'll break before we start the next round. But all right, we will get started in about 15 seconds here. We're gonna do 20 seconds at as much tension as you can have on those cords while still maintaining good form and still finishing the stroke all the way through. And we're gonna do this for 20 seconds, alternating single arm. And we will begin right now. Yeah, and this is where we really wanna be consistent with the form. Make sure we're not bouncing or swinging back and forth. Nice and solid with your core. You got 10 more seconds. This is gonna be pretty high tension and pretty hard. Higher tempo as you accelerate through. Okay, and rest. All right, we're gonna take 20 seconds rest here. Take a little bit of a step forward. So now we're thinking about 90%. We don't need that same super high tempo, super high effort. Backing off a little bit, but this should still be an effort. It should still be hard. And we're gonna get going in 5 seconds. This is for 40 seconds. And begin. Now this is where we start thinking about things like head position, making sure we're not bouncing. Let me see here. Jody, can you get your head up just a little bit? You're looking straight down at the floor. You almost want to, like, if you're in a pool, it's almost like we're looking at where the wall and the bottom of the pool meet. So just a slight angle. We don't want to be looking at the wall ahead of us. We don't want to be looking at the bottom. Got 10 more seconds. Okay, and rest. Okay, a little longer rest here, 40 seconds. And then we're gonna go into 1 minute straight. And now with this 1 minute, take another little step forward. Now we're thinking more kind of what would you feel like in a race? Race type effort, about 80%. This is where we're really finding the rhythm. We're not rushing through the pull, but we still want to accelerate through the back by that, past the hip. And we will get started in 15 seconds. And we're gonna do a minute straight of this. We'll go in 5. Okay, and begin. 1 minute straight. Susie, try to get a nice flat back as we do this. There you go. This is where we really start to feel that rhythm. As we get tired working through, we've got another 30 seconds. Make sure we're thinking about body position. Nice and square, strong core, neutral head. He's looking good. Okay, we've got 10 more seconds. Make sure you're finishing all the way through the back of the stroke. Okay, and rest. Nice job. You guys can drop the paddles. We'll take at least a solid minute here. Good opportunity. Swing the arms, stretch it out a little bit. Kind of got an idea of what we're looking at now. We're going to go through that a few more times. So good opportunity just to stretch, loosen up. We will take at least about another 40, 45 seconds of rest here before we go through that again. So we're gonna do that same thing. 20 seconds, you got an idea of where the tension will be now, but it should be max tension as long as you are finishing that stroke all the way through, as long as you're able to finish with a nice straight arm through the back. We'll do 20 seconds of on, 20 seconds off. Take a step forward to about an 80% effort for 40 seconds on, 40 seconds rest, and then into that 1 minute again at the end, that nice endurance minute where you're going to start to feel it. Even if you're standing, you'll start to feel it in the lower back a little bit. Things start to get a little tight, and that's where you really want to make sure we're finding the rhythm and holding the form. All right, we'll get started in about 15 seconds. And we're going to be at now our 20 seconds of max effort, so long as we are maintaining proper form. We'll go in 5. Okay, and begin. 20 seconds, super strong. Get the tempo up on this. This will be the fastest tempo and the highest tension we have. Nice and strong all the way through the back. Got 5 seconds. Okay, and rest. 20 seconds off. We'll be strict on this. Little step forward now, about 80% effort for 40 seconds straight. Tempo can back off a little bit, but we still want to make sure we're accelerating through the back end of this. We're going to go in 5. 40 seconds, single arm, alternating, and begin. Make sure we're getting at the top of that stroke. Make sure the first thing that happens is those fingertips drop down. We don't want to start pulling back before we get that fingertips down below the wrist, below the elbow. Then we pull back through the rest of the stroke. Halfway there. Accelerate through the hip. Nice straight arm parallel with your body. 10 more seconds. And rest. We got 40 seconds of rest now. So a little more rest. I'm working hard. And we're going to go into that 1 minute, that 80% endurance, good rhythm. We don't have to have a super, super fast tempo on this, but I still want you to think about catch first, then accelerate through the back end of the stroke. I'm going to go in 20 seconds. It's going to be 1 minute straight, and we'll take another good break after this. This is where we're really working on finding the rhythm and keeping the tension. We're going to go in 10. We're going to go in 5. And begin. All right. Susie, try to let your fingertips drop down with that elbow up a little bit more before you start pulling back. That's good. Excellent. Find the rhythm. You want to find that rhythm without the bounce, without the sway. I think we talked last time a little bit. We can end up snaking sometimes from side to side. Want to stay nice and square. 30 more seconds. We talk a lot about rotation when we're swimming, but when we're doing these standing, we tend to be a little bit more square with the bands than we do when we're swimming in the pool. 15 more seconds. Don't let that head drop down as we get tired. 5 more seconds. Okay, and rest. Nice job. Good job. And we will take us in about another full minute at least here. So a good opportunity to grab some water. Stretch those arms, particularly, we always talk about where we get sore right back here, right behind the shoulder, that upper tricep. It's always a tricky one to stretch. And come up this way, work across here, really get that stretch back through there. Good job. We'll get started in 40, 45 seconds or so. I think we've got time to do that 2 more times. Now, again, I take this opportunity, I guess I haven't said that in a while too. You guys are the best judge on how you're feeling. So I can see what you're doing, but it's hard for me to tell what you're feeling or how your shoulders are holding up. So if we've been through this twice or we get through this 3 times and you start to get a little bit uncomfortable or feeling like that's a little bit too much, don't be afraid to kind of back off, maybe take off a round or miss the last round, that's fine. If maybe you haven't been doing a lot of the stretch bands lately, this might be a lot to jump into right away. So if 3 rounds is enough for you, that's perfectly fine. You guys have to be the judge of how you're feeling and where you're at. All right, we'll get going in about 10 seconds here. We've got our 20 seconds. Super high tension, 100%, high tempo. Strong, strong effort, alternating single arm for 20 seconds. And we are going to start right now, 20 seconds. This is where we're feeling a lot of power, nice high tempo, but make sure we're finishing all the way through. Accelerating right through the back. 10 more seconds. And rest. 20-second break here. Little half step forward or so. Now we're at about an 80% effort for 40 seconds. This is where the rhythm comes into play a little bit more. Tempo drops a little, but again, still accelerating through the back, past the hip. 40 seconds starting right now. There we go. So this should still be pretty hard. Looking good. Halfway there. Ten more seconds. Little check on head position at this point. Make sure we're holding it all together. And rest. Nice job. Okay, now we're going to take another little half step or so forward for this 1 minute interval. Our 1 minute, 80% endurance, race type effort, where we're feeling the rhythm, feeling the flow, but holding that position. Holding nice, strong, tight core. We're going to go in 15 seconds, 1 minute straight. Okay, off in 5. And begin. So again, this should be about an 80% effort, almost like a race effort. So not easy, but not as hard as those previous ones we were doing. This is where we really are finding the rhythm, finding some tempo here. And as we get tired, that's when things start to break down. That's when the elbow starts to drop at the front. So make sure we're getting that nice, as we like to say, that vertical forearm up front, the fingertips down, making sure the core is nice and tight. We're not bouncing, we're not swaying. Head position is nice and neutral. And we're finishing that stroke all the way through, especially as those triceps start to get tired. Got 15 more seconds. You're done in 5 seconds. And rest. Excellent. Nice job. You can drop the cords, stretch it out. Again, we'll take another minute, maybe a minute and a half on this one. Give you a little more time to stretch and start to feel good. We're 3 rounds through that, and we'll go for 1 more round of that. Now, if you need to adjust, especially as we're 3 rounds in, we've got 1 round to go. If you need to adjust the tension, so 100% highest tension you can go while still maintaining that form may not be as much tension as you had on that first round. So you may need to be starting a little bit more forward on these rounds towards the end here, mostly, especially as we're trying to hold form as we work through these. So if you do need to start with a little bit less tension on that first 20 seconds, maybe less than you did on the first round, that is to be expected. Again, we want to make sure that first and foremost, we're able to maintain that form and hold that position and make sure we're finishing all the way through. And making also sure that sometimes it's actually easier with the stretch cord sometimes to drop the elbows and just pull back, but really make sure you're setting up the front of that stroke by letting that fingertip come down and that elbow come up to pull through. And if you can't do that with the amount of tension you have, then you may need just a little bit less tension. All right, we will start in about 15 seconds here. Okay, last round, 20 seconds, max tension, so long as you are maintaining form and finishing the stroke all the way through. So 20 seconds, high tempo, high power, alternating single arm. And we are gonna start right now, 20 seconds, let's go. Again, this should be the higher tempo. And when we say tempo, once again, we don't mean arms moving faster, we mean accelerating through the stroke faster. Got 5 more seconds. Strong, finishing all the way through. And rest. 20 seconds rest. Take that little half step forward. 40 seconds. Back off the tempo and the tension a little bit, but we're still accelerating through past the hip. We're going to go in 10 seconds. 40 seconds at about an 80% effort in 5. And go. 40 seconds. Now we're not muscling through this like we were on the 20-second interval. So this is where we start to find the rhythm a little bit more. Halfway there. Make sure those arms are coming right back up all the way to the front to start that stroke, as if your hands were where the surface of the water would be. 5 more seconds. And rest. Nice job. All right, we've got a solid 40 seconds of rest here before we get into that last 1-minute interval. Just have 1 minute to go. 1 minute straight. Finding that rhythm, solid tempo, still accelerating through, not a ton of tension on this, but again, this is like a race effort. So it's not easy, but it's not as hard as what we just went through with the 20 and the 40 second. We're gonna go in 15 seconds. All right, let's start getting set up. We're gonna go in 5. 1 minute straight, starts right now, begin. I know we're at the end here, so this is when, again, form starts to fall apart a little bit. Most importantly, we're making sure if you're standing and not on a bench that we're nice, tight core, solid body position. Try not to stand up too much at this point. I know you might be feeling a little bit in the hamstrings and the lower back. I want to try to have a nice flat back and finish with an arm that is parallel to your body, pushing right through the hips. Got 20 more seconds. Make sure we finish all the way through. Straight arm, past the hip. All right, we've got 10 more seconds of this. Keep it up. Let's finish strong. And you're done. You can drop the cords. Let them fall. Grab some water. And we can swing it out here at the end. You know, I always like to do this and keep those arms shaking. I know sometimes you're still a little tight in the back, so maybe just a nice bend at the waist and getting all the way down towards those toes. And then also in this position is a good one to shake the arms out in, really kind of twist out the body and feel it here. Add those stretches. Stretch out the shoulders, stretch out the triceps. Come up over the head. We'll pull. I know I've mentioned it before. Some of those daily bulletin sessions that have gone around for the warm-ups can also work as warm downs or cool downs here at the end.